3. This is week 1, the Sunday night game of week 1, featuring the 1989 Silver Dome. Out come the Rams first, led by their quarterback Jim Everett. And there's Barry Sanders, Brett Perryman, and their quarterback Rodney Peete leading out the Detroit Lions. The Rams in 89, the Lions in 91. And it looks like the Lions are set to get the ball. Let me go ahead and set up the simulation here. All right, so this is retro era number 3. That era is 1984 through 1996. So let's see how this plays out. Mel Gray, the returner, gets it out across the 28-yard line, and out comes this starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions in 1991. It is Rodney Peete. See if we take a closer look here. There you see some of his ratings, but he is the quarterback for the Detroit Lions. See what happens here. First down, handoff to Barry Sanders. That's what this team is all about. The great Barry Sanders. Newman with the tackle. This Lions silver stretch or run and shoot offense. There's a quick completion. And another first down, or the first down of the season. Hand off to Barry Sanders. And again on first down, they go to Barry Sanders. And again, a minimal game. But Barry Sanders is one of those guys that can break any attempt for a touchdown at any time. So you might bottle him up most of the game. And then before you know it, boom, he had 70 yards. There's Rodney Peete throwing it away as nobody was open. Offensive line for the Detroit Lions. Left tackle is Lomas Brown. At left guard, you got Eric Andrelczak. The center is Kevin Glover. The right guard for this game and for about 2/3 of the 91 season was Mike Utley until he has a tragic injury in which he would become paralyzed. But a great story of strength and determination. And basically the team rallied around that injury and ended up, again, making it all the way to the NFC Championship game. He is in today, Mike Utley, the guard. Again, as I explained in the pilot, he will miss parts of the season. Here's the quarterback for the Rams, Jim Everett. See some of his stats there. The right tackle, by the way, for the Lions is Eric Sanders. So let's see what the Rams can do. Now the Lions got a first down, but that was it. Now the Rams, Everett from the shotgun. Jim Everett's got time, throws it underneath to one of his great receivers, Henry Ellard. Gain of 9 yards. Henry Ellard, the best receiver. Flipper Anderson, also a very good receiver. And there's a handoff to the back. Greg Bell, who had a nice year in 89. Rounding out the skill positions, the fullback will be Buford McGee, and the tight end is Damone Johnson. The offensive line in a minute. Everett now short drop, throws complete. That might be the other tight end there. A little bit of dance going on for whatever reason. Offensive line for the Rams is a very good one. Irv Pankey, left tackle, and Tom Newberry, the all-pro left guard. Pro Bowl selection Doug Smith is at center. Tony Slayton, the right guard, and the great Jackie Slater is the right tackle. He's a Pro Bowler in 1989, not an All-Pro, but he is many years a Pro Bowler, 35 at this point in his career. So both of these teams led by their offense, or I should restate, the Lions led by the great, in some people's mind, the greatest running back to ever live, but certainly a top 5 running back of all time in Barry Sanders. And then 4 solid receivers. The Lions are one of the are a unique team in that Rodney Peete, who's starting today, plays most of the first half of the year, and then Eric Kramer plays most of the second half of the year in 1991. Each of them started 8 games in the regular season in 1991, so they will, throughout this season, I'm not sure exactly how I'll do it, if I'll alternate weeks or if I'll give Rodney Peete the first 8 weeks and then Eric Kramer the next 8 weeks. And since we're doing 17 games now in this Madden schedule, maybe week 17 will go to who plays better of those two, but they should end up playing about even amount of times. There's a flag on that play. I believe somebody ran into the punter. Arnold, the punter, got run into. It's a personal foul, not just running into, but roughing the punter. So that gives a free first down to the Detroit Lions. Since the Lions are on offense, we will highlight as we will with every team, we'll highlight the Pro Bowlers and All-Pros. The left tackle Lomas Brown did make the Pro Bowl in 1991, and then, of course, Barry Sanders was an All-Pro running back. And speaking of Barry Sanders, he breaks a couple tackles there and gets his best run of the game of about 12 yards, and then there's a little bit of a skirmish afterwards. So the first quarter will be mostly about the team's offenses. Second quarter, we'll delve into the team's defenses a little bit. And then, as the big plays come up, of course, we'll try to announce a little bit of that. And then the second half, we'll just see how the game's going. There's a handoff to Barry Sanders, another big run, breaks another tackle, and down he is inside the 25. Barry Sanders off to a quick start, 5 carries, 39 yards. The team goes according to Barry Sanders. So if you can shut down Barry Sanders, which very few can, then you have a chance to beat this team. Another handoff to Barry Sanders, another broken tackle, and he's inside the 20-yard line. Just to let you know, Barry Sanders started 15 of the 16 games in 1991 when he was a 23-year-old running back. Accumulated over 1,500 yards on this. Nomer that Barry Sanders wasn't the greatest pass-catching running back, but he did have 41 catches for over 300 yards and added 1 more receiving touchdown. So not a bad receiver out of the backfield by any means, but just a sensational runner. Peete drive backs and passes. Kevin Green destroys Rodney Peete. Ball comes out. It's picked up by the defense. Can anyone catch him? Barry Sanders is on the move, but I don't think he's going to get there. It's going to be returned. Wait a minute. Perryman almost got there, but it is returned for a scoop and score. What a disaster. Richard Brown picks it up and never looks back. A defensive touchdown for the Rams. Maybe we should have went with defenses in the first quarter. But a big play by Kevin Green, the most recognizable name on this 89 Rams defense, and Richard Brown picks it up and returns it for the touchdown. What a turn of events there. The Lions were driving. It looked like they were going to get some points. The crowd was into it, and just like that, boom, a defensive touchdown by the Rams. And the crowd is got a little excited there after the extra point for whatever reason, but was quiet before that. Kevin Green congratulating Richard Brown on the touchdown. All right, so here's Mel Gray. Nice little move there. That wasn't Mel Gray. That was Aubrey Matthews. Mel Gray is who we expect to do most of the returning. Aubrey Matthews, the secondary returner, and he got the return on that opportunity. Okay, so here we go. Run and shoot formation, and they hand off to the backup. Running back, Dozier. DJ Dozier will spell Sanders. Sometimes Kevin Green gets through again. Oh, it wasn't Kevin Green's sack, though. Kevin Green got through, and he was the first one to hit him, so I don't know if he'll get a half sack for that or not. Yeah, they're going to give the credit to Kevin Green. He got there first, cleaned up by number 93, who, let me see if I can pull that up here real quick. Doug Reed. All right, Rodney Peete scrambling, still looking downfield, still looking. He doesn't want to run, and he ends up throwing it away. He had room to run. I mean, he wasn't going to pick up the first down, but he had room. He could have scrambled and probably gotten at least 10 of those 21 yards. He definitely wanted to throw the ball. You saw him looking, and finally just threw it out of bounds. So the Lions will punt. Kevin Green already has 2 sacks on this opening quarter. Not a good sign for the Lions offensive line. So out comes Jim Everett. A little bit more about this 89 Rams offense. Play action pass. Everett fires downfield, and that's a completion to Holohan. Holohan, the another tight end that gets quite a bit of action. The second tight end in the depth charts, but you will see him featured quite a bit. Everett back to pass, and he's going to get sacked around the edge. Everett got sacked around the edge. Was George Jameson? They're gonna. Oh, I thought they were gonna show you the whole replay, but he beat the very reliable Jackie Slater and got the sack. So the Lions had 1 All-Pro player and 3 Pro Bowlers on their offense. Jim Everett gets rid of the ball at the last minute, holding on to the ball a little too long. Jim, don't call me Chris Everett. With the incompletion there. 3rd and 18 now. He'll throw it underneath Holohan. Again, makes one man miss and gets inside to the 30-yard line, tackled by Chris Spielman, the captain of the Detroit Lions defense. And we're going to see a field goal attempt here of 40, let's call it 45 yards. Mike Lansford kick is good, and the Rams the Rams extend the lead to 10-0. Real quick about the Pro Bowlers, the Rams offense brings 3 Pro Bowlers: wide receiver Henry Ellard, center Doug Smith, and right tackle Jackie Slater. The All-Pro is, of course, the left guard Tom Newberry. All right, so the Lions, 1:48 left in the first quarter. Peete back to pass, in trouble again and sacked. That's the 4th sack by the Rams. Richard Brown with a touchdown return already, and now another sack. The Lions are going to have to figure out how to start protecting their quarterback better. Peete back to pass. This time he's got protection, but throws it a little low. And when you get hit 4 times in the first quarter, you might be a little bit off accuracy-wise. So the Lions, as we were talking about earlier, there's a handoff to Barry Sanders on 3rd and 17. If anyone could do it, it would be Barry, but not today. Right with the tackle. Since the Lions run a lot of 4 wide receiver offense, and they definitely spread it around. In 1991, Brett Perryman had 52 catches. Robert Clark added 47. Mike Farr with 42, and Willie Green had 39. All of them, other than Mike Farr, went over 500 yards, and Willie Green led that pack with 7 touchdown receptions. There's a nice move there, and then a nice juke, a good return. We're talking about Mel Gray on the Detroit Lions, but it was the best return of the game so far has been from the Rams right there. The Rams, they'll do more 2 tight end sets than they will 4 wide receivers. Sometimes they'll hit you with a 3rd wide receiver, but rarely will you see 4 wide receivers from the Rams, although they are a good passing offense. Jim Everett threw for over 4,000 yards in 89, 4,310 yards to be exact, with 29 touchdown passes. So the Rams offense can definitely get it done. And they're not just passing. Greg Bell did add over 1,100 yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. So it's a good offense all the way around. Really good in the air, but very solid on the ground as well. Like I said, 3 of their 5 offensive linemen are Pro Bowlers in 89. So expect to see some offense for sure out of this team. Everett from the shotgun fires underneath, hits Flipper Anderson. Sorry, not Flipper Anderson. It's number 84. 84 is Aaron Cox. Flipper Anderson, of course, 83. Everett on the play action pass, fires near the end zone. It's batted up in the air and incomplete. All right, so it's the second quarter, so let's talk a little bit of defense here. Don't want to miss the action. Fast and furious action here, and there's Jim Everett over the middle. That's Flipper Anderson, and that's what Flipper Anderson does. Flipper Anderson in 1989, he was a touchdown machine. Well, I mean, got a little excited there. He only had 5 touchdown catches, but that is in just a deep threat. That's what I meant to say. Is what he does is catch passes of over 20 yards, which he did there. The Rams are absolutely putting it to the Lions here. It is 17-0 already. Barry Sanders 8 carries, 48 yards, but Rodney Peete and the passing offense cannot get going. Talk about some Rams defensive players. The defensive line, they run a 3-4. The defensive line is Doug Reed and Sean Miller on the edges. There's a nice throw from Pete to Robert Clark. The nose tackle is Alvin Wright. The linebacking core from right to left is Mike Wilcher, Fred Strickland, Mel Owens, and the Pro Bowler Kevin Green is the left outside linebacker. He did lead the 89 Rams with 16.5 sacks. Nobody else on the team had over 5, so Kevin Green definitely the star of the defense. 2nd and 12 here. Rodney Peete will give it to Barry Sanders again across the 50-45. Nice run. Averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Barry Sanders, you just saw that X light up. Barry Sanders, an X factor for these Lions. And there's a false start, so more offensive line problems. And 3rd and 7, Rodney Peete may have to throw, and he'll be throwing against the secondary. No, hand off to Barry Sanders anyways. When you have Barry Sanders, look at Barry Sanders. 3rd and 7 is not a passing down necessarily when you have Barry Sanders. He got 5.5 yards, got hit, broke that tackle with pure power, and then his acceleration got him to get back over the line for a first down. And Dozier's going to come in, give Barry Sanders a break after that rough run there. Not handoff, what am I saying? It's a quick pass to Brett Perryman. So the Detroit Lions driving again. They had one drive earlier that was looking good, and then Kevin Green came and obliterated Rodney Peete. Ball came out, and it was a defensive touchdown. Here's a play action pass to Barry Sanders, fires downfield. And that's knocked away by Jerry Gray, the Pro Bowl corner. His partner in crime, the other corner, is Leroy Irvin. And then Michael Stewart and Vince Newsom are the safeties for the Rams. Barry Sanders handoff. Nice juke move there. Breaks a tackle. So you saw a juke and a broken tackle on the same play. Barry Sanders, I said before that I've heard some people say he's the greatest running back of all time. I have him in my top 5 for sure. He's personally the greatest running back I've ever seen live. I'm a Bears fan, but unfortunately I never got to see Walter Payton play live. He was his, I don't want to say he's before my time, but my time was the end of his career, and by the time I was actually old enough to dictate, pay for tickets and not rely on hoping that my parents would bring me or whatever, then of course he was already retired. I don't know if Walter Payton was better than Barry Sanders or not. I mean, Walter Payton did everything. Barry Sanders definitely better at the jukes. I just know the greatest running back I've ever seen in person play football is Barry Sanders. And Eddie Murray puts the field goal through the uprights. Lions are finally on the board, 17-3. So again, recapping the Rams defense, you had the two Pro Bowlers, Kevin Green with 16 and a half sacks. There's a broken tackle by Brown, and he almost took off for the whole thing, but he does get to midfield. Flipper Anderson, one catch, it was a 26-yard touchdown. Jerry Gray, the other Pro Bowler. So again, the Rams from '89 coming at you with 6 Pro Bowlers, and one of them was an All-Pro. That's total, not just on defense. Everett drops back. Look at the time Everett has versus the time Pete has. Rodney Peete drops back, and he's running for his life. Everett drops back, and he has most of the afternoon to find a receiver. Everett, quick drop here. And the Rams are just moving the ball at will against the Lions defense. So who is this Lions defense that's just allowing the Rams to go up and down the field? Well, they actually bring 2 All-Pro players and a Pro Bowler. So actually more than the Rams have, and it's all of the middle. Nose tackle Jerry Ball is a All-Pro player. Their captain right in the middle, Chris Spielman, there with the X on him, is an All-Pro player. And then their free safety in the back, Benny Blades, was a Pro Bowler in '91. Going over the rest of it real quick on the line, on the outsides of ball are Mark Spindler and Dan Owens. And the other 3 linebackers, along with Spielman, are George Jameson. He's had a sack already today. Dennis Gibson and Tracy Hayworth. In the backfield, the corners are Ray Crockett and Mel Jenkins, and William White is the other safety, along with free safety Benny Blades. The Lions also add a Pro Bowl return man in Mel Gray, but we haven't really seen him yet, as the returns have been handled by Aubrey Matthews. And I don't think they've made the Rams punt yet, so we haven't seen Mel Gray on punt return. There is a penalty up front. Was that Spindler? That's Dan Owens, the other side, sorry. We just talked about him, but Dan Owens jumps off sides, and that might give the Rams a first down. I wouldn't say it's automatic, but it is a first down. All right, so 5 minutes to go in the first half. It's been all Rams, 17-3. Lions really need a goal line stop here. The fake to the fullback, and they pitch it out to Bell, and he is stopped by Jameson. Jameson having a pretty decent day. Bell definitely knows how to find the end zone. Again, 1,100 yards in his 15 starts, but 15 touchdowns. So he does average a touchdown per game. But there's Jim Everett with the quick toss to Henry Ellard. Henry Ellard, one of the best receivers in the league in 1989. And there he finds the end zone. A lot of people may not know much about the late 80s Rams, but they were a very good team. It's just that the team of the decade in the 80s was the 49ers. And for most of that decade, the second best team in the division was the Rams, and they made plenty of playoffs, capped off here by this 1989 team, who made it all the way to the championship game, only to run into those aforementioned 49ers and lose in the NFC Championship game. But the team is very good. Like I said, over 4,000 yards in the air, a 1,000-yard rusher who had 15 touchdown runs, and one of the best offensive lines in this league. This, of course, being the retro era 3, best teams from 1984 to 1996, and of those best teams in that 13-year span, the 1989 Rams have one of the best offensive lines. So that's saying something. So the Detroit Lions defense has done nothing. They've caused 0 punts and taken the ball away 0 times. The offensive line can't block the pass rushes. Rodney Peete's been getting killed out there. Rodney Peete's completed a couple passes, but he also has that fumble that was returned for a touchdown. And Barry Sanders, of course, is great. So it's the great Barry Sanders and a bunch of not doing anything to help him, which was too often the case for Barry Sanders' career. The Lions typically did not help him much. 1991, they did. This is the best of those teams. 12-4 and made it all the way to the championship game, like I said before. Overmatched by the Washington Redskins, but it was a fun little run. I'm a Bears fan, so, I can't stand the Packers. I hate the Vikings, but I don't mind the Lions, which I guess is saying something, because the Lions have always kind of sucked. Now, recently, here in the 2020s, the Lions are good, and that's interesting. I still don't hate them yet. They'll have to be good for a while, I think, before I actually hate them like I do the rest of the teams in the division. But I was going to say one of my favorite games ever was that 1991, January of 1992 game when the watch. Now, that was right before the Cowboys then ran off 3 Super Bowls in the next 4 years. But the Jimmy Johnson and the Dallas Cowboys very cocky. And deservedly so. Like I said, they went on to win 3 of the next 4 Super Bowls after that season. But at least for that season, the cocky Cowboys that I guess Jimmy Johnson admitted to being afraid of Mel Gray and the special teams of the Lions, but he thought offensively and defensively the Cowboys would dominate the Lions, and Eric Kramer just came up and lit them up offensively, just completion after completion, touchdown after touchdown, and it was pretty amazing to watch, actually. I don't know, even though this is Madden 25, so it's the schedule that just happened in real, in the real 2024 NFL season, which is not that long ago, but I still can't remember the schedule. So I don't know if the Lions play the Cowboys or not. It would almost be that matchup, though, the 91 Lions against the 92 Cowboys. 92 Cowboys, obviously not the exact same as the 91 Cowboys, but still a lot of the people are the same. Rodney Peete's going to scramble away from trouble and then slide to avoid the big hit and set up another field goal opportunity for Eddie Murray. Murray from 42, kick is up, and it is good. So the Lions added their second field goal of the day. I mean, it's still the first half, so, every point helps trying to get this game a little bit closer before the half. And out comes Jim Everett again. Let's see if they'll give us a stat update. He's got 2 touchdown passes already. He's been playing well. The Rams, just in general, have played very well on offense so far. I think it has been mostly through the air, though. I don't really think Bell's had that much of a game to speak of. But Jim Everett in this passing game is definitely working. Everett underneath the flipper. Anderson, who tries to get away from Chris Spielman. He does just enough to get the first down. Everett throws over the middle and just ahead of the receiver, so it's incomplete. Brings up 2nd and 10. Rams are out of timeouts. Everett throws. Oh, dropped. He threw towards the sidelines. I don't know if Johnson took his eyes off the ball to check his feet to make sure they're inbounds or what, but either way, drops the ball as a result. Everett down on 3rd and 10. And now the Lions gets a pass rush, and it's actually a fumble. Everett fumbles the ball, and the Lions recover at the 17-yard line. So the Rams could have been happy with the lead and just knelt on it, but instead, Jackie Big Bad Slater gets beat for the sack, and it's a sack strip. Rams' first turnover of the game. They still haven't punted, but now they've turned it over, and the Lions, Rodney Peete's going to take one shot at the end zone here. No, he goes underneath. Not sure. Well, they do. Let's see if they take another shot. They will. They call a timeout, and they take one more shot. So that's why they went underneath. Get close enough to make this play take less than 7 seconds. Peete fires end zone in the corner. He caught it. He hits Robert Clark in the corner of the end zone, and just like that, Eddie Murray adds 3 points. But then the Rams, instead of kneeling on it, they turn it over, going for more, and the Lions make them pay. And that definitely changes the complexion of this game. It was 24-3. Seemed sort of like a meaningless field goal by Murray, but now they add another touchdown, and suddenly it's 24-13, which, you know, is doable. You go into the locker room feeling a lot better about yourself down by 11. That's not great, but it's certainly better than being down by 21, which they were just a few seconds ago. Now Everett, with 3 seconds ago, is definitely going to just kneel on it. So the Rams won most of the first half with a little bit of a flurry there at the end by the Lions. Gets this to a more exciting second half, hopefully. Now let's see. Earlier in the week, I was watching one of these games, and the halftime report was completely cringeworthy as usual. But here, since most of the games have been played, let's see if we get some stats. Okay, yeah, we will. So here's some stats for you. The Ravens beat the Chiefs. That's the 96 Ravens, who only went 4-12, beating the 1990 Kansas City Chiefs. You see DeBerg, 205 yards. Testaverde had 3 touchdown passes. The Jets and 49ers, of course, the one game that hasn't been played yet. That's tomorrow or Monday night. You know, not broadcast tomorrow. And here's some of the other games there for you. So you see the Eagles over the Packers. Steelers beat the Falcons. The highest scoring game, the 1990 Buffalo Bills and the 85 St. Louis Cardinals. 84 St. Louis Cardinals. Went quite a shootout there, 40-30. And the Lions will kick it away. So again, another thing that makes you shake your head. The Rams were up 24-6, knowing they're getting the ball to start the second half. Why wasn't that good enough? They could have just knelt. But they do still get the ball to start the second half. So they're up by 11. They still have not been forced to punt. They just have to make sure they don't turn it over. We should be okay. There's a handoff to Bell. He gets a big hole and gets the first down. That might have been Bell's best carry of the afternoon, I believe it was. There's a completion to Flipper Anderson. He does more than just catch deep passes. He makes a nice tough catch over the middle there. 2nd and 2. And off to Bell, another big hole. And Chris Spielman and others on the tackle. But a nice run again by Bell. Are the Lions going to make the Rams punt at all this game? Starting to become the question. Big Jerry Ball in the middle is getting handled nicely by the Rams offensive line. They're mostly double teaming him. But it's a good strategy because the Lions are not calling many run blitz. They're just trying to handle it with the 3 guys up front, which is a mistake. This Rams offensive line too good for that. There's a blitz and they get home. That's actually the 3rd sack of the day from the Lions, and at least 2 of them are by Jamison. I can't remember who got the 3rd one, but there's been 7 sacks in total in this game. The Rams got 4 in the first quarter, so the Lions actually kept Rodney Peete upright in the second quarter. And now the Lions have come back with 3 sacks of their own. They still have not forced the Rams to punt, but on 3rd and 15, there is a chance we're going to see a punt here, depending on what happens. Everett in trouble, and down he goes again. Jamison gets through for his 3rd sack. 4th sack in total for the Lions. Wow, 3 sacks from George Jameson. Was not expecting that. Now, this is Madden, so of course, you know, stats might get a little bit crazy. But in 1991, George Jameson only had 4 sacks. From other seasons that I've done, even of this just computer versus computer simulation, so no input by me. And there would often be at least 2, sometimes up to 4 or 5 people that would end the year with over 30 sacks. So, I mean, I hope it's not that out of control here in Madden 25, but it seems like even though the momentum meter has been turned off because that thing is ridiculous and ruins games, it seems like there's still like coded. I don't know. It's probably just coaching. It's probably just the AI is not smart enough to make adjustments. But I feel like if one guy beats their guy, like Jameson might have 0 sacks in his next game, but once somebody gets through Jameson, then he just keeps getting through, and it gets like 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 sacks in one game, just because the AI coaching refuses to double team. There, Kevin Green is the most dangerous man on the field, and Kevin Green, actually 2 guys got around their tackle, but Kevin Green got around the tackle with ease. You got to figure out how to double team, and the AI just won't. So we just have to live with these distorted sack numbers, I think. By the way, Barry Sanders is over 100 yards, so he is not disappointing. But the Lions still down by 11. Wow. So earlier on 3rd and 7, they gave it to Barry Sanders. 3rd and 19 was kind of a little bit too much to ask. A draw play. The Rams weren't fooled, probably because the Rams know outside of that touchdown pass to Clark, the Lions haven't done much with the ball in the passing offense. Okay, so a quiet second half so far after 37 points were scored in the first half. Bell's getting a little bit more touches here in the second half, as not that the Rams are already trying to run out the clock, but they don't mind so much if the clock does a little bit of running here in the second half. Now, there's a delayed give to him, and he gets across the line and up to the midfield before he's taken down by Benny Blades. Rams just across midfield. Another handoff to Bell, and another pretty good run. Wait, was that Bell or was that the backup? I don't know. I think Bell's back there now. I do believe it was the backup on the last carry. Everett in trouble, gets rid of the ball before getting sacked. I believe the carry before was Del Pino, but Bell's back there now, and Bell gets the ball and carries for another first down. Spielman finishes off the tackle. So the 1989 Los Angeles Rams, they were the second best offense. Now, in this league here in Retro Era 3, there's 31 teams. I mean, there's 32 teams because it's Madden, but one of those teams is the Memphis Steamers because the Houston Texans didn't exist yet. But 31 teams did exist, so 31 teams are in this. But back in 1989, there was only 28 teams in the league, and out of those 28 teams, the Rams were the second best offense in 1989 and 17th in defense. So about average, slightly below average in defense, but very good number 2 offense. Compare that to the Lions and what they did in 1991. They had the 9th best offense and the 11th best defense. There's Bell going over the top for the touchdown. So I believe that is the first rushing touchdown from the Rams. They've had 2 passing touchdowns and a defensive touchdown. Right over Chris Spielman goes Bell for the touchdown, and the Rams back in total control again, up 31-13. So yeah, you might not know. I mean, the Rams are a great offense, of course, but the Lions were 11th in defense, so they were above average defense. They're as much above average as the Rams are below average on defense, so slightly above, Rams slightly below. But the offense of the Lions was 9th. That's nowhere near as good as 2nd that the Rams bring. So you are seeing the Rams' superior offense in this game. Lions' defense is, you would say, maybe is playing worse than we thought they would, but against a high-powered offense like this, it's really hard to tell. Again, both teams made it to the NFC Championship game. The Lions were 12-4 in the regular season. The Rams were 11-5. The Rams were playing in a harder division, though. So very, very comparable teams. I thought it would be a closer game, but the Rams kind of running away with this one, and they put another hit and sack on Rodney Peete. So another 3rd and 16. The Lions keep putting themselves in 3rd and very long. And Peete drops back to pass. He's going to look deep. Oh, and he's got a guy wide open. A breakdown in the Rams coverage. And Gray saves a touchdown, but not until Farr gets all the way down to the 6-yard line. So a broken coverage by the Rams. And the Lions show some life. Rodney Peete, definitely his biggest play through the air. Look at that broken coverage. Kind of amazing that it ends up not being a touchdown. Great hustle by Gray to catch him. But a 1st and goal coming up for the Lions late 3rd quarter. Definitely want to get it down to a 2-score game before the 4th quarter starts. Peete drops back to pass. Actually, good protection by the Lions, and Peete tried to throw it away. Perryman broke up that interception. He threw it right to Kelm. I don't know if he didn't see him or what. He got his hands on the ball. Perryman hit him. He may have dropped it before Perryman got there, but Perryman definitely a big effort to make sure that wasn't intercepted. Rodney Peete, now he's just going to use his legs and get into the end zone. Rodney Peete saw the opening, used his legs after almost throwing an interception the time before, runs it into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Lions pull back within 12. Eddie Murray's going to try to make it an 11-point game, and he is successful. So a nice answer by the Lions. The Rams had a breakdown in their coverage, and Rodney Peete did not miss it. 2 things have to happen. You have to have the breakdown, but then your quarterback's got to see it. And the way he's been getting hit today on these blitzes and things. Oh, look at those. More broken tackles. This has been quite a good return game for the Rams. A little bit unexpected. Jim Everett. I was going to say, with as much as Pete's been on the ground getting sacked, there was definitely a chance that he was not going to be able to see the break in the coverage, but they actually protected him well, let him have a chance to look at the field, and he found him for a big play. You see in total yards now, the Lions actually have more total yards than the Rams. So it's really... Oh, look at this. Jim Everett goes deep. That was not a breakdown in coverage. That was just a perfect throw to a great receiver in Henry Ellard. And every time the Lions come back and make it look close. Look at this. Just perfect throw right over. I mean, I guess he did have a step, but it wasn't like a blown coverage. He just, Henry Ellard's just better than the defenders the Lions have to cover him, and Jim Everett made a perfect throw. So the Rams push it back up to a 3-score game. So in the last 3 minutes of game time, 21 points have been scored, and this might end up becoming the highest scoring game. The highest scoring game of the week so far was the 1990 Buffalo Bills defeating the 1984 St. Louis Cardinals by a score of 40-30. There's Mel Gray, makes one man miss. No, that's Aubrey Matthews again. Why does Mel Gray never get the ball? All right, Barry Sanders, 104 rushing yards. He has not caught a pass yet. Again, he had 41 catches in 1991, so he averaged just under 3 per game. Oh, Barry Sanders with a just bulldozer. Usually you're used to him breaking ankles. This time he lowers the shoulder and just blows up the Rams defender. And now the fire axe goes on. So Barry Sanders, how much will they use him? Down by 3 scores, they probably feel like they have to throw the ball, but Rodney Pete's going to run this time, and he'll slide after picking up the first down. So all of a sudden, defense has just completely disappeared from both sides. The last 3 possessions have been touchdowns, Rams, Lions, Rams, and now the Lions are driving right down the field as we start this fourth quarter. Pete back to pass. Rodney Pete helps out, or Barry Sanders helps out against Kevin Green. Rodney Pete gets hit right near the line, spins away from that and into the hands. Okay, ridiculous gymnastics by Owens there. Rodney Pete spun away from one tackler, just got manhandled by Kevin Green. So it's unfortunate when you spin out of that. Kevin Green's in your face. Rodney Pete is going to try to scramble again, and a kid somehow survives the hit. Rodney Pete showing a lot of heart here. I don't know if he's going to survive this game. Definitely, that's what they love about him here in Detroit. There's the throw. Wow, look at this. All the Lions are just breaking tackles, doing everything they can. That's Farr, the same guy that got open deep. He spins off of 2 different tacklers there. Everyone motivated by Barry Sanders' tackle breaking ability, I guess. And then, of course, Barry Sanders doesn't break a tackle because that makes sense. But that tackle is very important by the Rams because that did happen behind the line, which means it shuts off the X factor of Barry Sanders, and he's not lit up anymore. There's some good protection finally, and Rodney Pete did that to himself. The protection was good, but Pete's been hit so much that he just kind of started running when he didn't need to, and kind of ran himself into a sack that time. 3rd and 15 now. And play action pass to Sanders. Happy feet from Pete, and then he fires out of the back of the end zone. Rodney Pete definitely has the happy feet going. It's a 3-score game, so Eddie Murray is going to come out rather than taking the chance at 4th and 15. And he'll put 3 more points on the board. It's 38-13. It technically is just a 2-score game now. The problem is the Rams have only had to punt 1 time. So I really feel like this Lions defense must force some turnovers, or it's going to be a Rams victory. Look at total yards, almost even. The Rams doing better in the air, the Lions better on the ground. There's a throw underneath. Nice tackle by Chris Spielman. Holohan again, he's got a handful of catches this game. Last handoff went to Greg Bell. There's Greg Bell breaking a couple more tackles, and I think we need to talk about Greg Bell a little bit here. I know a lot of people I've talked to, friends or work colleagues and things, don't remember Greg Bell very much. So I think he was, for whatever reason, forgettable. But he had a few years, broke into the league with the Buffalo Bills back in 1984 and went over 1,000 yards. Then had some injuries and You know, big injury in '86, missed most of the year. '87 kind of fought his way back, but then he came back. '88 and '89 on the Rams went over 1,100 yards with over 15 or more touchdowns in each of those seasons. But then, of course, next year in 1990, you'll actually see him on the 1990 Raiders as well. Greg Bell is over there. Whoa. Crockett went way up and was able to knock that ball away before it was another touchdown. So nice play by Crockett. I thought he stopped too soon when he went for that jump. If he would have mistimed it in any way, that's another touchdown. But he did get it and knock it down. So the Rams will have to punt for just the second time. And there is Mel Gray, but he has to do a fair catch. So nothing exciting there. Rodney Peete still alive. Been hit a lot, but he's still working through. And the Lions, I mean, it seems like they've been closer to getting blown out than thinking they were going to win the game the entire time. And it doesn't start off great here with a holding penalty, but if the Lions were to just get a touchdown on this drive, we might have an exciting finish here. They will hand off to Barry Sanders, and he will get manhandled by 3 different Rams at the same time. 2nd and 16. Again, 4 wide receivers. The Lions do have a tight end on their roster. So, again, they will throw a tight end there from time to time, but they've been using a lot of 4 wide receiver sets here in this game. Again, they come out with 4 receivers, and I think that is on the Rams this time. It is encroachment. So a holding penalty to start it off hurts, but then Miller kind of bails out the Lions by going offsides and giving them a first down. And his hand up to Barry Sanders. Only a 4-yard gain there, only. If Barry Sanders gets 4 yards every time he gets the ball, it's still a win for the defense. Encroachment again, the second offsides penalty on the Rams in this drive, and that brings up 2nd and 1. Under 7 minutes to go, but the Lions are still alive. If they can get this ball into the end zone. There's a completion to Robert Clark for the first down. Owens with his 8th tackle of the game. Clock continues to run. Clock's starting to become an issue, but it's as long as the Lions get in the end zone before the 2-minute warning, they still have a chance. Barry Sanders breaks a double tackle there. 2 men tried to tackle him at the same time. Neither were successful. Barry Sanders gets another first down, and the Lions are across midfield. Dozier in the backfield now. Oh, my goodness, was that offsides again on the Rams? What is going on? Are the Rams trying to toss this game? The Rams' offense much superior to their defense. We've talked about that already, but the defense was playing pretty well, and now they're just going offsides all the time. I guess they really want to sack Rodney Peete one more time. Barry Sanders breaks 2 more tackles and gets a couple yards. 2nd and 2. Maybe they just want to hit Barry Sanders. But for whatever reason, they're going offsides. They want to hit somebody, and they're not using their brains. Rodney Peete, that's a nice throw in traffic. There was 2 Lions and like 4 Rams. But Peete was able to find one of his players, and another first down for the Lions, down to 4:15 to go. That's the good news for the Rams. Rodney Peete spins away and throws it out of bounds to avoid the sack. He still gets hit, though. 4:09 to go in this one. The Lions driving, trying to make this a game yet. Peete with a quick drop, a quick throw, nice blocking on the edge, and all the way up to, that's Riley. That is one of the tight ends that the Lions do have on the roster, so they kind of sneak a tight end in. It's almost similar to a tight end screen, not exactly, but they threw it out to the tight end into flat. Got some good blocks from the wide receivers. There's throwing the corner of the end zone and going up and get it is big Herman Moore. Now, Herman Moore is on this team, and I did not mention him this whole game, but he would not go the whole game without being mentioned. Herman Moore ends up being a great receiver for the Lions. In 91, he was only a 22-year-old kid who did start one game, but he was basically the fifth receiver on the team. So again, he's going to end up being a great receiver for these Lions, but in 91 he only had 11 catches and actually 0 touchdowns. So that touchdown right there is more than he had in 91. Now, of course, he ends up becoming a Pro Bowler from 94 through 97, has a great career with the Lions with over 600 catches, but he's rated as he was in 1991. So he's the fifth or sixth best receiver on this Lions team. That didn't stop him from getting in there on the jump ball, though. So as bad as the AA is at changing up their protections and schemes, they were smart enough to put him in for the jump ball, and he delivered. So that was good to see. There's a handoff to Bell, slams forward. We were talking about Bell earlier. In the 88 and 89, 2 great years with the Rams. In 90, he goes to the Raiders, and the Raiders plays a little bit in the beginning of the season, spelling Marcus Allen, but then, of course, when Bo Jackson's baseball season's over, then it's the Bo show. I mean, Marcus Allen is still a great Hall of Famer, but after Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen, there's just not enough balls to go around, so Bell production going to be much less on that team. And then that would be the last year of Bell's career. So 3 different 1,000-yard seasons, though, so certainly not a bad running back. And his best seasons were on the Rams right here in 88 and 89. Henry Ellard, well, he has a lot of great years and a good catch there. 2-minute warning. And now the clock is definitely an issue. So the Lions did what they had to do, scoring the touchdown for the Lion fans. Again, if the Rams get another first down, it's game over, I believe. But right now it's 2nd and 13. It looks like they're definitely going to run the ball again. And then 3rd down, they might pass. And the Lions all over that. Okay, so everyone in the stadium knew it was a run. And Owens makes the tackle on Bell. 154, 3rd and 17. Since it's 3rd and so long, you might just run again. If it was like 3rd and 10, you might throw and try to end the game. But 17 is kind of risky. Yep, they are going to hand off. Yes, it's conservative. Yes, you make sure the Lions get the ball back, but you do take away their last time out. So the Lions have, again, they felt like they've been teetering on, are they going to get blown out or just lose a fairly competitive game all game long? But now, here they are. They have the ball, less than 2 minutes to go, down by 8, which is only 1 score. Barry Sanders has not disappointed. He has 143 yards, all on the ground, no receiving yards. But I think Rodney Peete's going to have to get it done in the air. He's got to go 87 yards in 100 seconds without timeouts. Short pass, the Rams are going to let him have that all day long because that's going to hurt on the clock. That runs it all the way down to 1:20. So they lost almost 20 seconds to get like 4 yards. Rodney Peete fires. Oh, a nice diving play there. If that was 2 Rams going all out to knock the ball, if somehow Clark would have came out with that, that could have been like a 50-yard gain and gotten out of bounds. That could have been a huge play. Peete now in trouble. He's got to get away from the pressure first, and then he's got to throw it out of bounds. Okay, so it's all on this play. Good job of Peete avoiding the sack, but now it's 4th and 6. And no matter what comes, whether it's pressure or coverage, Pete's got to find a way to get 6 yards. 4th and 6. They're going to hand off to Barry Sanders. Wow. I know Barry Sanders is amazing, but 4th and 6, and you hand it off to him and expect him to do it all. He got 5 of the yards, but could not get the 6th one. Another put your head down, just run over a guy, but just not. Wow, I'm surprised with the game on the line. I mean, with the game on the line, give it to Barry Sanders. That makes sense, but expecting your running back to get 6 yards when you can't trick anyone when Barry Sanders is back there. So the Lions make the game closer than it looked like it was going to be. They do not. This is not the highest scoring game, as the Rams fall 2 points short of what the 1990 Bills did, but they still are going to win 38-30. The Lions, the second team here in Retro Era 3 to score 30 points and lose. But hopefully anyone that's made it through the whole game enjoyed it. Certainly leave any comments if you would rather just hear more play-by-play or the other way around. You just want to hear more about the teams and just kind of have the game going on in the background. Or if you want me to shut up entirely and just turn the announcers back on, the EA Sports announcers, not the greatest. But there's three teams this year, so it's a little bit less boring than just having the same two over and over. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed it. That was the Sunday night game for week 1. We'll look at some stats here real quick as we're ending it. But yes, again, this is Retro Era 3, 1984 to 1996. So if you like that period of football, then hopefully you'll like this season. Jim Everett had a great game, 68% with 3 touchdowns and 256 yards. Rodney Peete actually had a pretty good game, a 94 rating, despite getting hit over and over and over. So nice game by Rodney Peete. Of course, Barry Sanders was a superstar as usual. But there you see Bell. He didn't get as many carries, but still 5 yards a carry versus Barry Sanders' 5.2. So not as flashy, but definitely gets the job done. Anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll join again when we're in week 2. I have not figured out which game is going to be week 2, but thanks for watching, and have a good night.